Okay, hi. I wanted to talk a little bit about how to teach obedience and how to foster that. There's so much talk on, discipline and what types of discipline, and across the board, no matter what age your child is, no matter at what stage, I really think that these can all be implemented, because we're dealing with behaviors, right? And behaviors can be changed. That's what ABA therapy is. And ABA therapy is not just used for neurodivergent children. It actually should be used for everybody, right? I sometimes secretly use it with my husband because I don't want to be reactive. I don't want to reinforce a negative behavior or a negative encounter with any relationship that I have, really. It could be a staff member. And so when you are consciously thinking about how to react to something, you are not reacting to the behavior, but you're thinking about, how am I going to share my thought? How am I going to reinforce the behaviors that I want? And so obedience is, I love this topic because there are some really, really simple things that you can do that can foster behavior. And that's where we look at obedience, is behavior. And typically we think about, like, is a child listening to me? Oh, you're not listening. And that is obedience, but we have to take a step back and also really observe and question, are we allowing time and space with that? So in just general, obedience is about choices and listening, right? We see obedience about listening. Is this child listening to me? Is he following the rules? What are the expectations? But we kind of have to step aside and think, we want our children to have choices, and we want our children to listen, but we also want them to think and problem solve. And it can be really hard to see obedience in problem solving and independence. So if you're in a situation where you are saying, okay, it's time to clean up, and you've given the expectation, you've given maybe a warning, a verbal, a picture, whatever the warning may be, timer went off, and it's time to clean up. Typically, we'll say, oh, you're not using your listening ears. So I want to stop you right there, because we always want to talk about the positive, and we want to talk about things that are tangible that we can see. So if a child, like let's say 2, 3, 4 years old, is not listening, we can get down on their level and we can say, oh, did you hear my words? It's time to clean up. Can you tell me? You can say it's time. So make it a part of their routine. They're saying it. If they say it, they'll own it that much more. Another thing you can do and think is that, so we want to see the action, right? We don't just want obedient children. We want children who want to be obedient. And so it's really gonna be situational. But if the child is just defiantly not putting away the toys, this is one thing that I have always said to every child under the age of 5, and I'm not kidding you. They want to be independent. They are fighting for their autonomy at any point, any situation. And so I'll say, oh, it's time to clean up. Remember, I heard whatever the cleanup song was, the bell, whatever it is. You can do it all by yourself, or I can help you. And typically kids will be like, I want to do it. Don't touch it. I want to do it all by myself. And so in the beginning, you might have to follow through with that and take it from them, right? And we're cleaning it up. Oh, it is cleanup time, because the statement is, it is cleanup time. I'm just using this as an example. It's a cleanup time, and we need to put these things away for whatever reason, right? We don't want to get into a power struggle. We don't want to have too much of a conversation about it, because you've made a statement, you've made an expectation, and the hardest part now is to follow through. So if you have given them the choice, you can do it on your own, or I can help you. Oh, it looks like you don't want to do it on your own. I'm going to need to help you. I want to still play. I'm sorry, that's not an option right now. It's time to clean up. And so you're gathering everything and you're taking it away. They might have a tantrum, flail up their little bodies on the floor, and that's really okay. So Another thought and concept that I really want you to think about is how okay are you with visibly and physically seeing tantrums? Because we, as parents and early educators, have to remember nobody dies from a tantrum, right? They can sometimes be in an area that's not safe. If they flare their body, they're going to get hurt. Getting hurt is actually a natural consequence. And so if it's not a serious physical where they're bleeding and they're unconscious, then it's okay to say, wow, that really hurt. I'm going to give you some space because I can't hear your body right now. And you walk away and you give them the space and the time. And you might have to do that a couple of times for them to understand your follow through and go, I'll do it, right? And so we want to give them that opportunity to put their things away. And I'm not kidding, like, that's just something that is just kind of like, I've trained myself to say it and it works like 99% of the time. So try it. And when I say try something, you gotta practice it. You have to do it. Practice makes perfect. You're not going to be perfect at everything every single time you use it, because kids are very intuitive and they're going to try to not listen, right? And so just don't get upset. You don't have to react. You don't have to let it get to you. Oh my gosh, my child's not listening to me. Don't take it personal. It's a developmental phase that they are in. Everybody goes through it. And just say, you can do it or I can help you. And you can just I'm being kind. I'm not yelling. I'm not raising my voice because there's really no need to. And when your child hears your voice in that state with the tone and the volume that's okay and it's safe, they're going to listen to you that much better. Because if you're saying their name or they know that they're in trouble, they know that they're, it's going to go down that road, they've already tuned you out, right? If this has been a pattern. So keep that in mind. Another thing, like I said, is make it very tangible and factual. Like, I see that you're not putting your things away and I'm going to have to help you. So that's a dialogue. You're going to have to really think about changing your dialogue to where it's tangible and it's factual. Keep the emotions out of it. I teach this especially with early childhood educators, and it's super hard as a parent not to do this. I've had to train myself because I did this with my kids and was still doing it as they're half adults. And so I really had to train myself to not do that and to take the emotion out of it, because you'll typically hear, that made mommy really sad. You don't want to make mommy sad. Okay, so listen, the reality is that they cognitively do not care because they're not in the developmental phase, they're in the egocentric phase. And even if they're moving on to the next phase, they still are not in a space where they're going to care about how you feel about what they're doing. So you're going to see this, which is kind of confusing because you see this already immediately in like people pleasers and those serious kids that always want to be on task. But that's just part of their energy profile, and that's part of their movement, is that they have a law and order in their brain and they're following that law and order. It's not necessarily to make you happy. That's just a natural consequence. So be really careful about when you say, oh my gosh, that made me so happy when you did that. You could say that, but if you're going to use it at all, make sure that it is positive and not negative. So you're always going to want to stay away from that. Oh, that made mommy really sad. And the other really big reason for that is that you are creating an emotional manipulation when you do that, because they are not able to cognitively understand your emotion behind it. It becomes kind of like an eye roll, like egocentrically and like cognizantly, they don't care about how you're feeling. They are focused on what they want to do at that moment in time, and that's what's going to happen. So it's just too much for them to process, and we get into the habit of saying that so that what they do is they learn our behaviors and they learn our emotional manipulation and not necessarily obedience. So I hope that was clear. I know that can be very confusing. I have another video on emotional manipulation. I have to search for it though, and I think it's more geared for a teacher one. Okay, let's see. Just want to look over my notes and make sure that I didn't. First and then, no emotional manipulation. I see, make it tangible. I can help you. Yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted to cover just off the top of my head first. Things to kind of try and practice and play with, especially with determined verbal children that have this autonomous fight, and they are just super strong, and they have all these things going through the head, because you don't want to, I understand, like, we don't want to break their spirit. We want them to be able to problem solve, and giving them the option of, oh, this is not an option, and your option is to do it on your own for me to help you. That's actually, you're giving them the choice to be independent and autonomous, and they're going to learn natural consequences, right? Because in life, we can't always do what we want, and there's going to be natural consequences to that. So I wouldn't say there's a lot of like discipline. If a child is not listening and they're throwing a tantrum, you can always implement something. Do you need a break? This is the break area, whether it's in the home or a classroom. I don't really promote timeouts, especially with young children, because we want to keep it positive, right? We don't want to punish. We want discipline to be kind of self-motivating in a way. And so that's where we can say, it sounds like you're really upset. You could take a rest, but I can't talk to you right now. When your body is calm, I would love to hear what you have to say. So try those. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if I could answer any specific questions or situations. And thank you for this question. Have a great day. Don't forget to process and play. Take care.